What's going on YouTube? Welcome back. Today we're doing pawn with Metasploit Track in Hack-the-Box. So as you can see here, there are several machines that I have done in the past. I have added these machines to a specific playlist in my channel named Pawn with Metasploit, so you'll be able to watch the videos if you want. Today I'm going to do La Casa de Papel machine as part of Pawn with Metasploit. Now, this playlist or this track is to teach you how to exploit vulnerable applications using Metasploit. Okay, so we will do La Casa de Papel today. So basically, we will start with the machine, and this is the machine here. Make sure if you want to play the machine, deploy the IP. It's a retired machine, by the way. And this is the IP address. And as you can see, this is the user on and system on. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing here, as you can see, we did the nmap scan, and the nmap scan revealed we have several open ports. We have 21 FTP running on VSFTPd version 234. That's useful. We have 22 for SSH, port 80, and port 443. So to start with, if we navigate to the website on both port 80 and port 443, so on port 80 here, as you can see, it requires us to install Google Authenticator and generate a QR code to access the service. But never mind with this, it's not going to affect your progress in this challenge. However, in port 443, if we try to access, as you can see, let me click on cancel, advanced, accept. As you can see, we have certificate error. Sorry, but you need to provide a client certificate to continue. So this is a website, okay, that's built around this. So basically, as you can see here, in order to access the private area of the website, we have to generate an SSL certificate, okay, signed by the private key created to sign the website certificate. So we need the private key used to sign the certificate of this website to create a certificate that can be used to access the site. So we will keep this for a later stage. Let's go back to the nmap scan. So as you can see here, we have the rest of the ports 21 and 22. So VSFTPd, the version 234. Now we can try to access the FTP server using anonymous credentials, but it's not going to work. So the only option left for us is to see if this version is vulnerable to any sort of vulnerability here. See if there is an exploit for that. So search exploit VSFTPd 234. Okay, so we have two backdoor command execution and the same one, but on Metasploit. And since, as you can see, guys, the machine is part of Pawn with Metasploit series or track in Hack-the-Box, we will have to use Metasploit to exploit this service. So we load MSF console, we select the views, okay, so now we search for backdoor command execution. Okay, let's search for VSFTPd. Okay, so we have the only one here, exploit Unix FTP backdoor command execution. Show option or use. Let's use the exploit first by giving the path, the full path. Okay, show options. So we have only to provide the port. The port is given, already given. Provide the R hosts. Okay, exploit. Let's see. Banner 2220 VSFTPd 234. This is the banner. And here user 331. Please specify the password. Exploit completed, but no session was created. So it seems that we need to provide a username. But in the options, I cannot see any option to provide the username. So how can we provide this? Let's run again. If you run again, as you can see, we have a statement port used by the backdoor bind listener is already open. The service on port 6200 doesn't appear to be a shell. That's exactly the reason why we couldn't achieve shell through this exploit, because the port that has been opened by the backdoor, okay, which is 6200, doesn't appear to listen on a shell, so it's not a shell. But however, guys, the backdoor has been uploaded and now is listening on port 6200. The problem is we cannot connect with that port because it's not running on a shell. There is no shell. So let's figure out what is running on port 6200. So netcut 6200. Okay, exit. No need for this anymore. Let's see here, what do we have? So PSY shell version 099 PHP. So it's PHP command line shell. Okay, let's see, let's get more information about this PSY shell. Runtime, developer console, interactive debugger, and REPL for PHP. So it is a runtime console for PHP. Okay, let's figure out what are the commands. Okay, let's see. Help. We have the help. Figure out what kind of commands we can run. The list command knows all about your code. Help list, help show. Okay, let's go back and type here help. Okay, so these are the commands. Help, ls, list local, for instance, or class variables, methods and constants, dump, document, show, WTF, where am I? So these are commands that help you debug a code or trace an error. Let's see ls. Okay, so we have a variable called Tokyo. If we use show, we have show here. Okay, let's say show Tokyo. So this variable contains this code. Let's take a look. Class Tokyo, private function, sign, cassert, user CSR. CA key, file, get contents, home, Nairobi, ca.key. So this has to do with this, guys. As you can see, the key here, ca.key, is the key used to sign certificates, which can be used to access the private area. So here we got the clue to accessing this area here. If we are able to download this private key, we can generate our own SSL certificate to access the private area. But now the question, how do we access this? To do that, we're going to use PHP commands. So basically, if we type read file and we copy the path in, as you can see, we have the private key here. If we take this, okay, we copy that and then split the view. What you can do, guys, we can ls, as you can see, I did all of that beforehand. I copied the private key to a file called ca.key, cat ca.key. You can create this file using touch or nano or echo. Okay, that's how you copy the private key. Now we are ready to start the process of generating a public certificate that can be used to access the private area here. Okay, you can exit here, no need. Okay, so but how do you do that? Let's go back here and take this command. So first we will generate a certificate signing request using OpenSSL. Okay, now certificate signing request file will be ca.csr. Upon executing this command, you will generate this file. You will have this file ca.csr, which is the certificate signing request. That's the first step. Okay, the next step is we have to acquire the website SSL certificate. Okay, now you can do that with the following command. Make sure to replace the variables. So here, instead of HTTPS, we will have to put the IP address and the port 443. Okay, and here website.cert will be the output that contains the website certificate. Executing that, you will have generated the website certificate. As you can see, it is saved under this file. Let's see where it is. Casa de Papel certificate. That's the website certificate. Okay, and that's the certificate signing request. Okay, and that's the private key we have downloaded. Now, last step is creating a certificate and signing the certificate with the private key. So if we go back, we can use either one of these commands, this one or this one. Both can be used with OpenSSL. The first one here, we generate the certificate file. As you can see in the input, we have the certificate signing request. Okay, we have the website certificate. In the case of the challenge, it is Casa de Papel, the file I have chosen as a name, and we have the key that we have downloaded from the server, and this is the output. But the output needs to be usable in Firefox. That's why we use this command, or we follow this command here with this command. As you can see here, this is the output from the last command, and here we have the key, and in the output we put the certificate that can be importable to Firefox. So now if I go back and refresh, let's close and open one more time. Okay, so now if I go to settings, I will import the certificate one more time, certificate, As you can see, this is a certificate. I will delete this and import it one more time. Import. There is no password. Sign. Okay. Refresh. Still no luck. I will clear the cache. Okay. As you can see, we have this warning. I'm gonna click on OK. And now we have access to the private area of this server. As you can see, we can download the episodes from season 1 and season 2. Okay, so now we have access to the private area in the website. Let's proceed to the next milestone. If we click on season 1, take a look at the URL. As you can see here, we have the parameter path equals season 1. Now if we click on any of the episodes, we will be prompted to download the file. But since the URL looks suspicious here, we're gonna right click on the link. We are curious actually to find out what the URL looks like when we click on download. So as you can see, this is the URL file, and we have a string appears to be page 64. So if we take the string here and take a look or decode this echo, decode that with page 64. So season 1/04 AVI. So the name of the season and then the name of the file. So that's the string here. If we go back in the path, as you can see, we have season 1. Now here this translates to, if we copy that, instead of the page 64, we put this. As you can see, it doesn't work, but that's the plain text version of the URL. Okay, now if we go back, this seems to be vulnerable to local file inclusion or directory traversal. It might not be vulnerable, but it's worth trying, as you can see, based on the look of the URL and the variable path. So for example, if we go back here and we say echo -n, for example, we do some sort of directory traversal, okay, and download the flag, the user flag, and then say page 64. So we have now a page 64 string. If we try to access this, so keep the file. As you can see, we are able to download the user.txt file, which is the user flag. Click on OK and we'll be able to see the user flag. How this works? As you can see, the path parameter here is vulnerable to directory traversal. Okay, so if we are able to figure out the path of the file we want to view here, and we encode the path with base 64, we can use the URL formula here, file/base 64, to view the file. Since the server takes base 64 strings as an input, or encode the file names in base 64, we have to encode the file we want to access in base 64 and then give it back as an input to the server to retrieve the file. As you can see here, we use .. / to indicate that we are using directory traversal against the server. Now if we go back and try this here, so instead of season 1, say user.text, we got this output saying not a directory scan. We have this directory, home Berlin downloads, as you can see, /user.text. So we are able to reveal the root directory of the website, home Berlin. So if we go back here and say one more time, so it doesn't work here. Let's try to access view private keys, maybe //.ssh id_RSA. And again, no luck with this. Okay, so we can go back and try this using the base64. So if we go back here, okay, so we have the equivalent base64 of this path. We copy that and we go to this URL, we replace with this base64, and as you can see, we are able to download the private key ID_RSA. I have done that before, so ls, I have the ID_RSA. Make sure to give it the correct permissions, 600, and now you are able to log in. But with which user? We have to figure out with which user we can log in with this private key. That's why we need to download the contents of the password file. We can do that again with this. So instead of SSH ID_RSA, we try with etc passwd. As you can see, I did that before. If we cat passwd, you can see the list of all users. Now what's gonna happen here, guys, is that you will try with this one, but it's not gonna work. So that's why I think the correct one was with to traverse more than one directory, like that. Let's remove the password from here, so to make sure, guys, to give you the correct answer. Let's try with this one. Cancel. So this is not the correct file. As you can see, it's a HTML document. It needs to be a normal file. So we go back and we add one more traverse. And now it works. As you can see, we have a plain text document, the password file. Let's save that. And move it to the desktop. Cat passwd and write. So we have these users. We have Professor, we have Berlin, and we have Dali. Yeah, we have 3 users. So you can try with all of the 3 users to log in with the private key. The one that will work is the Professor. So SSH, and let me replace this IP address with the new one. Now we are logged in. So let's now proceed to the privilege escalation phase, ls-la. So we have a memcached server running here. Memcache is an application or a tool that's used to cache websites and make it faster. So we have two files, memcached and ini file and JavaScript file. The ini file is owned by root, and the group is root. Memcached JavaScript file is owned also by root, but the group is nobody. So it's very clear that if we can, and before I tell you guys what to do, so basically memcached runs as a cron job. So if we can modify the memcached file and replace the contents with a reverse shell, memcached will run as root and send us a reverse shell to my machine as root. So let's view the contents of memcached. Program memcached command, that's the command that executes sudo -u nobody user bin node home professor memcached JavaScript. So it's running this. If we can replace this command with something completely different, okay, we can actually retrieve reverse shell as root. So what do we do? What we're gonna do here? We cannot modify on this file because it's root. So we're gonna create a new file, okay, but the new file will have the same name as memcached. So first we move the current file to memcached.old, say, okay, and now we create a new one. So echo -ne, and here we create a new one. Let's take the first opening of the program, and then new line, and then we define the command. So command equal, we connect with netcat. So split the view left right, grab my IP address, connecting on port 4545, and then sending the output to bin bash. Memcached. So cat memcached. Okay, and see LVP 4545. Let's see if we receive the shell now. Now, because memcached runs based on intervals, on the next interval we will receive the shell if all went well. Now I think it's not gonna work. Let me tell you why. Because there is no space between the netcat cat memcached.ini. Yeah, there is no space here. Okay. Let's remove the current one and go back here. And specify a space. Oh, come on, man. It doesn't work like that. Okay. Let's hope. So now the command looks fine. Okay. And we received the shell. I thought for one moment that we will not receive it. ID, and I am the root user. So cat root.text, and this is the root flag. So that's it, guys. I hope you like that. And although the machine is not focused heavily on Metasploit, by the way, in reality, if you look again, we didn't use Metasploit to achieve the root in this machine. It was only for just demonstrating what was the port we need to connect to. So what an irony. So that's it, guys. I hope you like that, and I will see you in the next video.